A new WWE signing has been revealed. We also have a really big update on Logan Paul going to the UFC. And yes, we're going to talk about a massive announcement that WWE made today, one that truly excites me. Guys, if you want more videos like this, I'm going to put the timestamps in the descriptions down below, but make sure you click that subscribe button. This way you never miss wrestling news on a daily basis. We're going to kick things off with Logan Paul. Obviously, somebody a lot of fans have been talking about, whether it's for good or for bad, people are talking about Logan Paul. Now, I've said in the past that Logan Paul has done an excellent job transitioning into the WWE, but of course I'm getting questions on his contract status. Why don't we see him too often? And this is actually very interesting considering the news with the UFC. So if you guys didn't know, Logan Paul signed a multi-year deal with WWE, and as expected, he's working mostly premium live events. It doesn't mean he won't be on television, but the likelihood of Logan Paul actually wrestling on Raw or SmackDown, it's pretty unlikely. Instead, WWE is saving Logan Paul for those big marquee matches because at the end of the day, they are trying to capitalize off of Logan Paul's audience that exists outside of wrestling. This makes a lot of sense if you're the WWE, and it does make a lot of sense for Logan Paul because he can continue doing his podcast, he can continue focusing on prime hydration, and yes, he can continue doing everything else that he does because, well, he's Logan Paul, and at this point, WWE benefits immensely off of Logan Paul. So with that being said, what happened to Logan Paul in the UFC? Because Logan Paul made a video, he teased possibly joining the UFC, and then it actually turns out that Logan Paul is just the official sponsor for UFC with him and KSI's hydration drink, which is called Prime. So now Logan Paul has a podcast. The Impulsive Podcast has Bruce Buffer on the podcast, and he actually talks about how Dana White was toying with the idea of Logan Paul actually fighting in the octagon, and Logan Paul did confirm this is true, but ultimately they haven't made that decision to move forward. Now, there's probably a million reasons as to why this is the case, but one thing that people aren't talking about enough is WWE and Logan Paul and where he stands with WWE. It's important to remember that Logan Paul going into WWE, he has to be used for those big marquee matches. That's why potentially he could be wrestling Seth Rollins. That's why we've seen him against Roman Reigns. And at the end of the day, WWE is probably going to continue doing that with Logan Paul because, again, they're just trying to benefit off his name value outside of the company. With that being said, if Logan Paul were to fight in the UFC, he is going to have to spend a lot of time in an actual training camp preparing for the UFC, which means his time and his availability to his podcast and to wrestling and all of these other things that he's doing, it probably wouldn't be likely that it could happen. Also, in addition to that, there is somewhat of a concern if Logan Paul were to go to UFC and actually get hurt. That means that Logan Paul could potentially miss WWE events like WrestleMania, which would obviously be very detrimental to their deal. So in a way, it's almost like Logan Paul actually has to prioritize WWE. And of course, Logan Paul has all of these other different business things that he's doing. So it is very difficult for him to do UFC. Now, as a fan of wrestling and as a fan of MMA, I would have loved to see what Logan Paul could do in an octagon. Would he be better than CM Punk? Would he be worse than CM Punk? I'll let you guys decide, but it is very interesting to see that Logan Paul actually could have fought in the UFC, and it's just not happening. Maybe that changes in the future. I don't know, but it's definitely something very interesting to think about. Today's video is brought to you by our good friends at Ridge.com. If you go to Ridge.com/Ango and use code Ango, just for being a viewer of this channel, they're going to hook you up with a 10% discount off your order. I've seen in previous videos where we've talked about Ridge, you guys really seem to love the wallets. I know I love my wallet. I switched from the green to the black one, and it's just like an accessory, honestly. But the cool thing is Ridge has a lot of great benefits to buying one of their wallets. And first things first, you need to know that there is lifetime warranty on these bad boys. So not only is the build quality beautiful and it's durable, but they do give you that lifetime guarantee. Also, I'm not the only person talking about Ridge Wallet because there is over 50,000 reviews of Ridge Wallet, and rightfully so. There's a lot of people talking about these wallets, about how they're a game changer. But in the last few months, the one thing that's been actually really beneficial to me that I genuinely love about my Ridge wallet is the RFID protection. So the idea that I could be walking in a crowded space and I don't have to worry about somebody scanning my pockets and stealing my information, that is a huge win. Plus, if you're trying to spend your money, nobody wants to be going through those leather wallets digging for cards or cash. The cool thing is with this bad boy right here, you have a nice little slot right there. You just push up your card, grab it, swipe it, tap it, whatever it may be. And next thing you know, there's a lot of benefits that come from that because it's convenient. Ridge.com/Ango. Use code Ango for 10% off. Make sure you guys check out the links in the description. And thank you to Ridge for being a good friend of the channel and sponsoring today's video. And with that being said, guys, we're going to transition to the next topic in today's video, and that is WWE's massive SummerSlam announcement. It is true, WWE has confirmed that SummerSlam will be coming to Detroit on August 5th at Ford Field. Now, as somebody from Detroit, I am ecstatic about this news. Obviously, we talked about the rumored location for a while, but now WWE has officially announced it. WWE is making a very big deal about coming to the Motor City. This is the first WWE event at Ford Field since WrestleMania in 2007, and it's the first SummerSlam to be held in Michigan in 30 years. The tickets will actually go on sale April 14th, 2023, and as you can imagine, being from Detroit, I am super excited about this news. I will do something with our community here on the channel, so I am going to be working on the logistics and the planning of it several months in advance. I want to do something really special for the viewers and for the wrestling community when they come to Detroit, but we got to talk about why this is actually a big deal. And I think there's not a lot of people talking about this, but WWE in Detroit always get great results. When WWE comes multiple times a year for Raw and SmackDown and house shows, that is very telling that WWE sees Detroit as an important wrestling market. Also, what is really special about WWE coming to Ford Field is that Triple H has been doing an excellent job of filling up stadiums for their stadium shows, and Ford Field has a capacity of over 60,000 plus seats. So the cool thing is, not only will WWE continue to follow the trend of having these big stadium shows, but now they are doing it in the venues that actually make the most sense. I've seen people talk about WWE coming to Detroit and possibly doing it at Little Caesars Arena. That doesn't make sense. WWE is filling up the big arenas, whether it's in the UK or the United States. Ford Field more than likely will be a sellout. And when I have more details on what we're doing as a community, I'll keep you guys updated. That's a good reason for you guys to join the Discord. But with that being said, guys, we're going to follow up with our main event story today. WWE has signed Jason Cade. Now, if you don't know who Jason Cade is, let me just remind you, he is a veteran in the world of pro wrestling. Fightful Select has announced that WWE has actually picked up Jason Cade to work as a backstage producer in the company, and this is actually a very good thing for multiple reasons, and I want to tell you guys why. Well, first and foremost, there was this belief that Jason Cade was being used at the Royal Rumble as a producer, but there was no sort of agreement for him to be a full-time producer in WWE at that time. It was almost considered like a tryout or a trial basis type of thing. Now he is in the WWE. He's appeared on WWE. He appeared at AEW, and it's not something like he's like this full-time wrestler wrestling on Raw or SmackDown, but he's going to be there to help bring his influence and his experience and help developing people on WWE television. He was most recently used on WWE Main Event for a match that was just taped there. And, here's the thing, guys. Indy Hartwell versus Dana Brooke on Main Event. WWE is using Main Event as a way to bring in NXT talent, to get them in the bigger arena, to get them out of the Performance Center, to see what their reactions could be like in front of a WWE Main Event, main roster audience. And that's a beautiful thing. WWE is starting to realize that it's all about development. It is all about producing the right way. Producers have a very significant role on WWE television. Some people forget that. And instead of WWE bringing in another wrestler to just wrestle for no reason, which sometimes that happens in wrestling between WWE and AEW, they're looking at this from the point of view where Jason Cade could bring his veteranship to WWE, help out producing, and hopefully create more magical moments. If anybody's familiar with Jason Cade's work, then you'll know how talented he is. But now that WWE is bringing him on board and they're using him in a backstage capacity, it's really wonderful. Keep in mind, WWE also brought in William Regal, and they brought in so many other people. Oney Lorcan's headed to WWE. I mean, this is what WWE needs to do, and this is a really great move by WWE, Triple H, and Nick Khan. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, and I'll see you next time.